Here. Today we're going to talk about adding with rational numbers. So you guys have added and subtracted with integers. Today we're going to look at the rational numbers, which is fractions and decimals, and just how we can maneuver that along a number line. So the first example is just to kind of review -3 plus -4. So how does this work on a number line? So on a number line, we want to start at 0 always. So we're going to start at 0. We put our pencil at 0, and we're going to go -3. Negative numbers are always to the left. So we're going to go to the left 3 units. And so this is -3. And then to that, we're going to add -4 more, which means that we're going to go left 4 more because it's negative. So 1, 2, 3, 4. That actually puts me at -7. Okay, so the final answer, I end up at -7. Now, Mrs. Mays would have said that these two numbers are on the same team because they're both negative. And so how many total members of that team do we have? You would add them and then keep the same sign as negative. And Mr. Trueblood would have said same signs, add and keep. So we add the two numbers together, the 3 and the 4 together, and we keep the same sign of -7. Let's take a look at the next example. The next example is -3 plus -5 halves. Before we start anything, I want to talk about what -5 halves even means. When we're talking about a number line, 1/2 is not quite a whole. So let me show you what I mean by that. I'm going to use a different color. I'm going to use some red. So if I'm going 5 halves, I want to go 1/2 first, just to show you what that looks like. So I start at 0. 1/2 is halfway between 0 and 1. 2 halves would be at 1. 3 halves, 4 halves, 5 halves. 5 halves actually puts me at +2.5. Okay, so just know 5 halves is the same thing, that's an equal sign, as 2.5. Okay, so let's take a look at this problem. So what we need to do is we're going to go left 3, starting at 0. We're going left 3, -3. Then we're going to add -5 halves to that. So let's count the halves. So this is going to be 1/2, 2 halves, right on that -4, 3 halves, 4 halves, right on the -5, 5 halves. This is -5 halves. So I'm going left 5 halves. Okay, so let's take a look at that just to convince you that that really is 2.5 spaces that we moved. So we were at 3 and we went left 1 whole space, left 2 whole spaces, and half of another, which put us at a number between -5 and -6. That's going to be -5 and 1/2. Now, if we think about the rules for Mrs. Mays's class and Mr. Trueblood's class, same signs. So they're on the same team, and we're going to add the two numbers together and keep the sign. So 3 and 2.5, when I add those together, I get 5.5. And again, since they're both negative, they're on the same team. Final answer, -5.5. Okay, next one, we have a decimal. -3 plus 6.5. Not only do we have a decimal, but for this particular problem, they're opposite signs. So we start at 0, we're going to go left 3, and then this time we're going to add 6.5. Now, because we're adding 6.5, we're going to go to the right 6.5 spaces. 0.5, if you remember from 6th grade, is half. We're going to go 6.5 spaces to the right from -3. So I'm going to get a different color just since we're going back over the blue. So if I'm going 6.5 spaces to the right, I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 1/2 is halfway in between 3 and 4. What number is halfway in between 3 and 4? 3.5, or 3.5, since our problem was written in decimal form. Okay, so let's think about the rules that your teachers taught you. Again, these are opposite sign numbers, so we're going to subtract. Now that's going to look a little funny because we have 6.5, but since we're subtracting decimals, we have to remember to line up the decimals. Minus 3.5. Oh, sorry, 3.0, huh? 3.5. Back that up. Sorry about that, guys. 6.5 minus 3.0. And we're going to go ahead and subtract those. We lined up our decimals. We end up with 3.5. And we take the sign of the greater number. 6.5 is bigger and it's positive, so our answer is positive 3.5. Okay. And our last example deals with a fraction. 3.5 plus -2. So we're going to go to the right 3.5 spaces. 1, 2, 3.5 right here. This is, we went right 3.5. That's a mess. We went right 3.5, and now we're going to add -2. Again, since that's a negative number, we're going to go to the left 2 spaces, but it's a little tricky because right now we're in between 3 and 4. So to go left 2 spaces, we need to go left 1 space, which puts us in between 2 and 3, and left another space, which puts us between 1 and 2. What number is between 1 and 2? That's going to be 1.5. 1.5, and it's positive. You can see that it's on the positive side. But let's think about your teacher's explanations. Different signs, we need to subtract. 3.5 minus 2. 3 minus 2 is going to give me 1.5. 1.5, and it's going to be positive because the bigger number is positive. So my answer is 1.5. Hope this helps you with your Khan Academy assignments and hope to see you guys soon. Bye-bye.